All right. The co-host is sleeping. It's the middle of the night. I tried to sneak out so they wouldn't see me. And hey, welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina K-S-T. INA. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, none of that fancy man stuff going on here. So, I'm still confused about the thing that I was confused about in book one. Because and I still don't know if the author is alive yet. Her Facebook page hasn't been active in a couple of years, so I do not know. The last activity was 2024. So, anyways, we did book one. Hey, Selena, naked guy on the cover, Chief. And number 2 is Hawk. And today we are doing book 3, Ranger, who is Arthur. And there are 14 books, 12 full books, and 2 half books. And the guys that I've been looking for don't have books. Seaton, a dragon, and another guy doesn't have a book. And I was trying to figure out why. And in the first book, it's announced that they've been killed. And in the second book, it's announced that they are alive and are completing successful missions, that they had been imprisoned and they were rescued and they are now alive. They were thought to be dead, but they were in a prison and now they are alive. So I'm still confused about that. So anyway, we've got Anne here and we've got Arthur. Arthur is Ranger, and he's one of those guys that can sense the attack. Where's a good? I had a thing. Let me get my thing. Oh, didn't work. So he can sense an attack. He can put his ear to the ground. Maybe he's got a little Indian blood in him. Who knows? Over in Scotland, who knows? And he can hear the hoof beats before anybody else can hear the hoof beats, so he can avoid the attack. And he's Ranger. And in the beginning, they're trying to stop a messenger from Bruce. This is Bruce's Robert the Bruce, and he's trying to be King of Scotland. And this is his little army of men, 10 men to work with little groups of other men to provide strategic attacks and do secret missions and get spying done and all that other kind of stuff done. And Ranger is one of the spies, and he has this technique where if someone throws a knife or something at him, he catches it like that. And that's what he does when he first meets Anna, is the person throws the knife and he catches it. He may cut his hand a half dozen million times, but he always catches it. And that's going to be his undoing. So he's working undercover at Anna's place, and apparently Anna's people are the people that killed his people years ago and took his land, etc., etc., etc. So they're all planning this attack, and they have a lot of, once they meet and they fall in love, but nobody wants to admit it. Arthur keeps telling her, no, stay away from me. I don't want to see you. I don't like you, blah, blah, blah. And then he kisses her, and he's like, I don't want to see you. I don't want to see you. And she's going to marry this Hugh guy. She's going to marry this Hugh guy because this Hugh guy plans on pledging several hundred men to their cause. She goes to this Hugh guy, and this Hugh guy's like, sorry, you marry me or don't marry me, I don't have the men to give you. So you're SOL. And she also catches a puppy and takes a puppy home. And we have some romance here. And then when things go south with the one guy, her father offers his daughter to Arthur, or Ranger as we know him. And he also offers Ranger or Arthur his father's estate back, the one that he stole years ago from Arthur's parents when he killed his parents. And at the end of the story, after going back and forth with romance and back and forth with character angst and all that kind of good stuff, and chapter upon chapter of kissing, somebody throws a knife, he catches it, and Anna's bells and whistles go off, and she knows that he is the traitor, and he confronts her. She confronts him, and he's decided, I'm gonna leave, and he gets captured, and they call his bluff, and they imprison him and beat him and a whole bunch of stuff. And at the end, she decides to go and try and approach his peeps and tell his peeps that Arthur is being held in the prison in her father's place. And they do a rescue of him. Now, I did have glasses around here someplace. So, I like the history of these books. I like the historical content of the books. They're in battle, and Arthur has her father pinned down, and because of Anna, he saves her father. Her father doesn't want to be saved, but he saves her father anyway. So she agrees to leave her father, leave her estate, and go be with Arthur. And this is almost a year after. And I'm pretty sure, when does the next one start? When does Viper start? 1306, and what's the first chapter? Because I'm like, why? 6 months earlier. So 1306. So this has I don't understand why she jumps ahead so far here and then goes backwards here. But we'll find it out when we read it tomorrow. We're going through these. I wanted something light. I wanted something light and airy to read, something that I could get through quickly. I've actually read 2 of these today. I reported to you on the Hawk this morning. It's now evening time. It's pouring out, and I have just finished this one. I started it at dinner time, and I'm finished. And there's also a naked guy on the cover. They all have naked guys on the cover, by the way. It's the naked guy on the cover series. She could have done a little more plaid, though. But the epilogue, spoiler alert. Peace felt good for Scotland and for Anna. Less than 2 months after her father's defeat at Brander, Bruce had won the battle for Scotland's nobles. Her grandfather, Alexander MacDougall, had submitted after a short siege of Dunstaffish Castle, and the Earl of Ross had submitted a few days ago. That Bruce had allowed Ross to live, foregoing punishment, the man responsible for the capture and ongoing imprisonment of his wife, daughter, sister, and the Countess of Buchan, was a testament to his desire to see Scotland and its nobles united. And I just like the history of it. And then she's got a little note at the end of the book. The Battle of Pass of Banda was a key battle of the Wars of the Scottish Independence. It stands not only as an example of the shift in Bruce's war tactics, he ambushes the ambushers, but it also hearkens the precipitation, fall, and fortune of the MacDougalls and a shift in power in West Highland politics to another branch of descendants of Somerled, the MacDonalds, and to the Campbells, who were to profit from the MacDougalls' misfortune. There is some disagreement among historians as to the time of Bruce's Argyll's campaign, when John of Lorne fled to Scotland, and the fall of Dunstaffish Castle. I went with the more conventional date of the summer of 1308, but some have argued that the final capitulation of Argyll did not occur until 1309. Although I gave a fictional account of the battle, I incorporated many of the actual events, including John of Lorne commanding his men from Berlin in the lock, as he was thought to be still recovering from an illness that had necessitated the truce the year before. When the attack failed, Lorne was said to have treated down the lock to one of his castles. But one detail of the battle in particular gave me the idea for the story. When I read about a scout who was supposed to have warned Bruce of the ambush, thereby giving the day It sounded like a perfect job for my elite scout, Arthur Campbell. The character of Arthur Campbell is loosely based on Arthur of Dumstaffage, the brother or possible cousin of Neil Campbell. As his designation suggests, he was appointed the constable of Dumstaffage Castle after the war. This fit in nicely with McDougall's heroine Anna is a fictional character, and the name of Arthur's wife, if any, does survive. Interesting, however, a betrothal agreement between Arthur and Christina McNerney of the Isles did exist, though they were never married. What also fit in nicely is that Arthur, along with the other brothers Dougal, was said to have been aligned with the English for some time, later coming over to Bruce. Arthur of Dumstaffage is probably not the Arthur who is the progenitor of Clan MacArthur. It seems most likely that this Arthur was a different and possibly senior branch of the family. The candles are stacked for the sons of Arthur, but plenty of confusion and different theories about the MacArthur lineage, including a direct descent from King Arthur. An old Highland proverb says, "There is nothing older unless the hill MacArthur and the devil." Neil Campbell was one of Robert Bruce's most important and loyal supporters. Indeed, Neil would have eventually married the king's sister Mary when she was released from her cage at Roxburgh Castle in 1310. As was common for an age with so many widows and widows, Mary would wed again on Neil's death. Readers of the first book in the series, The Chief, may be interested to know that her second husband was Alexander Fraser, Christina's brother. An interesting side about Neil gives a color to the age. His first wife was said to have a daughter of Andrew Crawford. Neil and his brother Donald, who had been guardians of Crawford's two daughters, decided to make the sisters for wives, literally by abducting them. John of Lorne was also known as John Back, Lame John, and John of Argyll was a key figure in West Highland politics, responsible not only for the Colin Moore Campbell's death at the Battle of Redford, but also for the death of his kinsman Alexander MacDonald, Lord of Islay, August Ogg's brother. Allied with the Comets by marriage, Lorne suffered greatly for his loyalty to that family and his hatred for Bruce, which, given Bruce's murder of Redcom, was probably understandable. So, there you go. There's Ranger's story. And we will be moving on to Viper for tomorrow and see what he's up to. And maybe we'll get some information more on Dragon and Seton, Seton. I forget what the other guy's name was. It's in my other notes. Let me just check real quick, but I don't think. Oh, here it is. With the Queen Ian Stryker, we did. Oh, Green Arrow McGregor, marksman, and so yeah, he's. Oh, here he is, book 9. So that's Green Arrow and Hawk. And so we have Angus St. McKay. Well, William Templar Gordon. He's the guy that's missing he doesn't have a book. Templar doesn't have a book here. And Alex Dragon Seton doesn't have a book here. So that's the 2 mysteries I hope to solve. If anybody knows, let me know. Otherwise, we'll see and we'll try and figure out the answer. Maybe they die in one of these books for real. We'll have to check it out. See you tomorrow. Have a good one.